Hello, my name is Ed Scotus. I am the president of the SANS Technology Institute College, and I am delighted to welcome you all here to our Founders Day Town Hall. This is 20 years in the making. We're going to be honoring 20 years of achievements of the SANS Technology Institute College, our beloved students, our alumni, our faculty, the staff, the administration, all of our partners. I welcome you all here for really what's going to be a wonderful celebration. Let's move to the next slide, please. So today, this very date, December 19th, 2025, marks 20 years since the founding of the SANS Technology Institute College. This is a very special organization, and we're honored to host you all here today for about an hour to talk about how we got here, where we are now, how we're contributing to the community, and where we're headed over the next several years. I am joined by some amazing people. Dean of Students Josh Wright will be filling you in on all kinds of wonderful things that we've got going on right now. And then our new provost, Betsy Marchant, who was our vice provost for so many years, a decade in fact, she will be presenting to you on where we're headed in the future. You know, the SANS Technology Institute College, SANS.edu, as we affectionately call it, started with a bold idea. And the idea was this. In today's cybersecurity workforce, the attackers are relentless and they innovate constantly. So how could we create an educational institution that keeps up with what the attackers do so that our students can enter the workforce and apply defensive technologies in a way that keeps up with the threat? This is a bold idea. The idea was based on the fact that traditional educational institutions couldn't keep up with this onslaught. So we're going to create a new kind of college that is based on rigorous academics, rigorous communications within the student body and with the faculty, interactions with the community, and to create a brand new thing, and that is the SANS College. So today we're celebrating 2 decades of excellence, of innovation, and this extraordinary community that we all working together have created over the last 2 decades. Next slide, please. I'd like to start it off by telling you a little bit about our founder, Alan Paller. I've known Alan Paller since, well, 1999 when I first met him and he invited me to be an instructor with the SANS Institute. And I remember he came up to me shortly after in 1999 and he said, Ed, we need to create a certification organization associated with our training. And I said to Alan, I said, you know, we've got the best training in the world. Why do we need a certification associated with it? And he said, well, when a boss sends somebody to take one of our SANS classes, the boss needs to make sure that people are actually learning something. So we're going to do a certification program to show the boss that their people have some level of skills. I said, sure enough. And well, so GIAC was born. And it was very successful. And then I remember a couple years after that, Alan came up to me. In fact, he bounced up to me. When he had a great idea, he would often bounce up to me. And he was just a treasure trove of great ideas. He bounced up to me and he said, hey, Ed, you know, there's so many internet worms and various widespread internet attacks that are happening today, buffer overflows attacks and backdoors being planted. We need to create a giant internet-wide monitoring system and then have an organization of experienced incident handlers that watches that monitoring system and can give people alerts. We'll call it the Internet Storm Center. And he said, I have the perfect person to run it. It's Dr. Johannes Ulrich, and he's got a PhD in physics, specifically X-ray optics. And I said, sounds good to me. And so the Internet Storm Center was born. But most important for us here was when Alan Paller came up to me 20 years ago today, this very day, and he was as excited as I'd ever seen him. He said to me, Ed, we're going to make a college. And I said, a college? I mean, we already have a great training institution. We've got a great certification organization. We've got the Internet Storm Center. Why a college? And here's what Alan said to me. He said, you know, people take a SANS class and that really impacts their ability to do their job. And we hold to that SANS promise. What you learn in a SANS class, you'll be able to apply the very next day when you get back to work. But he said, if you really want to impact people's lives, if you really want to make sure that they're the top of the top and really help them to achieve as much as they can in their careers, if you really want to create the next generation of cybersecurity leadership, the best way to do that is with a fully accredited college. And that's what Alan set out to build with countless other people that helped him through the years to make that thing happen. And the idea was we'll start with master's degrees and we'll offer two different kinds of master's degrees, and that's what we did. And then we'll add to it graduate certificates, which we certainly did. And then more recently, we added an undergraduate degree, a bachelor's degree, with two different bachelor certificates. And I remember early on when we started with the organization, we'd have our graduation ceremonies, and we'd have one or two students walk down the aisle to receive their diploma. And it was lovely. It was very nice. But those were some very early starts and some very low numbers at the starts. But it is really caught on. And now we have over 2,500 students. Each year we graduate 400 people with certificates or degrees. We have 50 to 100 people walking down the aisle at our commencement ceremonies. This organization is really caught on, and it's because of the hard work of all of you, our students, our alums, our faculty, our staff, our administration. I give you deep thanks for all of your great work in helping to realize the vision of this man that you see on the screen here, the vision of Alan Paller. And we are all indebted to him and so thankful for him. So I'd like to introduce our next speaker. It'll be Dean of Students Josh Wright, who's going to kind of summarize where we are now and what you all have achieved over the last 20 years. Why don't we move to the next slide? Josh, you want to take it away? Oh, you're on mute, Josh.
Thank you, President SCOTUS. Thank you, Ed. That was wonderful and so heartfelt. And thank you, everybody, for being here today on this exciting day. My role is going to help you understand some wonderful metrics. I love numbers. I love details, as you may know from any of my work. And today I'm real excited to share some of the different elements that we're able to measure and to see in our programs and in our students and in the offering that we have available at the college. And first, I want to talk about our scale and our reach. Currently in the program, we offer 13 different undergraduate, graduate programs, whether it's a bachelor's degree, a graduate degree, or certificate programs. And that's just amazing. A lot of opportunity to choose where the different paths are going to be best aligned to different learners' needs and what they want to accomplish after they finish their program of study with the college. We have 2,327 currently enrolled students, and those students represent 80 different countries around the world. We have a very diverse mixture of students, and we love that. Of course, we have many students here in the United States representing all 50 US states, and of course, DC and Puerto Rico as well. I love meeting all the students and seeing all the different representation and talking to people, getting insight on what's important to them and where they're coming from and what their goals are and why they're here with the program and what they hope to contribute in their careers and what they hope to accomplish going forward. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Of these programs, we offer something I think is really very unique, and that's when you finish your program of study, whether it's certificate or a degree program, you also leave with multiple certifications. These GX certifications that are widely respected in the industry, understood by employers, and give a lot of our students an advantage over other people that may be competing with for different programs, different job opportunities, for promotions, for exciting opportunities in their work. We have issued 23,572 different GX certifications to our students. Of those, 3,684 are our very popular GX, the GX Security Essentials Certificate Program, which demonstrates to employers that you have completed a program of study, you have demonstrated your mastery, and it's just wonderful that we have this as a measure of our students' success. Now, for these different programs of studies, we have 6,800 different programs being delivered, and that's across in-person, online, and hybrid programs. And we use this vocabulary to meet learners where they are. I love talking to students. I love seeing what students are up to and what they're accomplishing, what they're struggling with. And a question that students often ask me is, how should I go through my program? Should I do it in person? Should I do it asynchronously? Should I do it live, remotely? And the answer is always, it's really what works best for you. Some students really love the live in-person experience. Other students want to study at their own leisure. Some take a little bit of a hybrid approach, doing the work remotely but at a scheduled time. And students mix and match depending on what class that they're in and where they are in their lives and what their availability is. They could choose to take their programs in different learning modalities. And I think this is really a wonderful thing, and I think it helps people adapt what's going to be best for them and their individual learning style to what meets their unique needs as a learner as well. We love that employers recognize the SANS Technology Institute as a great learning opportunity for their employees. We have 2,619 different organizations sending their employees through our program. And it's just wonderful to know that we have that trust from employers, that they're investing in their employees and their employees are succeeding in earning these certifications and leaving the program with a lot of skills that best support their organization and their employer. We can move on to the next slide, please. I'm really excited to talk about alumni success because I think when people are deciding, are they going to invest in themselves? Are they going to put the time in to study and make those sacrifices? The program of study doesn't come without people saying, I'm going to put aside maybe hobbies or other activities. I'm going to sacrifice time to invest in myself so that I can be more successful. And I think the outcomes from those investments are well spoken to here in this slide. We have 2,360 different alumni, and 97% of our master's degree alumni agree that the program has prepared them to take on leadership roles. These are future CISOs or chief security officers or stakeholders, important investors in different organizations, leading security programs for their organizations. The average starting salary of our bachelor's degree graduates is $110,000, which is a wonderful thing to see. And 94% of our undergraduate students are working in cybersecurity within 6 months of their graduation. Now, on this slide, in the top right-hand corner, you'll see a QR code. And what I recommend is you take a second now, take out your phone and scan that QR code and then save that as a browser link so you can read this. This is our alumni outcomes report based off of alumni survey data. This is not something that we've released yet. You're the first people to be able to see it here. And it's a really exciting assessment, looking at the numbers, looking at the survey information that we've collected from our alumni, and seeing what they're up to and what they've been able to accomplish, seeing different graduates and what they've gone on to do after finishing their program of study. We're really excited about the outcomes and what they're able to accomplish, and I think this is a great resource to be able to check out, to be able to see what people are up to and the kind of successes they've found after their programs of study as well. We can move on to the next slide here. Now, one of our great alumni successes is when people come back to us and they say, I loved my program of study so much. I was inspired, I was motivated by my instructor faculty at the SANS Technology Institute that they want to come back and be instructors themselves. This is a pretty elite group. It's no easy task to become a certified SANS instructor. It is rigorous, it's arduous, it is a challenge, but we have people that have loved their program so much that 14 different SANS.edu alumni are now actively serving as SANS certified instructors. This is amazing, and I think it's a great testament to people that love their program of study so much that they want to contribute back to the next generation of learners as well. We can move on to the next slide here. The SANS Internet Storm Center that Ed mentioned earlier in one of Alan Paller's visions for us is really a worldwide, maybe one of the largest worldwide cyber threat intelligence programs that exists today, monitoring breach activity, monitoring attack patterns all over the world using an untold number of sensors scattered everywhere to be able to give us insight to the nature of attacks and what attackers are up to. And our students in the SANS.edu program get access to the Internet Storm Center information, working in a mentorship role with our SANS Internet Storm Center handlers, doing internships, and getting access to a lot of the data that's available, whether contributing in our podcast episodes, looking at our honeypot logs, looking at or contributing to our diaries, contributing to the podcast information. This is a really popular program, and we're thrilled to be able to give our students that firsthand access to be able to participate in the real collection of that data, the analysis of that information, scrutinizing that information to be able to see what the attack trends look like, and to be an active participant, not just in getting access to the data, but in understanding it and being able to work with our faculty members, the ISC handlers, and other people to be able to really contribute back to the worldwide community to better understand what attackers are doing and how we can improve our defenses. One of the great outputs that we get from the Internet Storm Center is something called our Internet Storm Center Annual Research Journal. There's another QR code here. If you grab that QR code, it'll bring you to SANS.edu/research, where you can see some of the amazing outcomes that we're doing based off of the information led by the Internet Storm Center and supported by many of our students. Move on to the next slide here as well. And finally, I want to take a second to talk about excellence in education. As a faculty member at SANS, I take my responsibility as an educator really seriously, and I'm constantly asking the question, how can I be a better educator? How can I reach students better? How can I motivate them to want to learn, to want to leverage the things that they are learning in their program of study to make a real difference in their jobs when they get back to the office and in the future, and to help them support their goals. And that is something that is shared by everybody at the SANS College. All of our faculty, all of our administrators, all of our staff, everybody is really invested in having these programs be successful, speaking to students, giving them the skills they need, and helping to support them to dream big dreams and to accomplish those dreams as well. We see that in these measures of excellence, like, for example, an award from the NSA as in a Cybersecurity Center of Academic Excellence, which we're very proud of. Our students constantly impress us. This year, #1 in the National Cyber League on the Experienced Leaderboard. When we talk to our alumni, we often hear numbers like 100% of our alumni express satisfaction. They agree that the community and the climate at the SANS College is one of respect and professionalism. And 100% of our alumni agree that 5 years out of their program, they know that the SANS.edu program has prepared them for challenges. We see this in a lot of different ways as well. 279 of our alumni have returned for a second program or more. And that's amazing. We love seeing students come back and saying, I want to accomplish more. What other opportunities are for me? And we're really proud of the academic contributions for our contributors as well, for our students. 3 of our alumni have gone on to coach the U.S. cyber team, and we have, in the past 5 years, 3 RSAC Scholar Award-winning recipients as well. And we're just thrilled to see everybody doing such amazing work, contributing back, and helping to make the world a more secure, a more safer place. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to our Vice Provost, soon to be Provost, Betsy Marchant, who is going to continue here with our strategic vision.
Well, thank you, Josh. And thank you all for being here to celebrate 20 years of SANS Technology Institute. After 10 years with the college myself, it really means a lot to be here today, and particularly as I'm stepping into the role of provost in January. So I want to take a quick look at our strategic plan and show you where we're headed and how it will shape what comes next. So as you can see here, we have 4 goals, and our first goal is on expanding opportunity. We want to prepare thousands more people just like you, to enter and lead in cybersecurity. That means we have to reach more prospective students. We need to build more pathways and programs. And most importantly, we need to keep our education flexible and accessible. So let me give you a quick example. Christina Westfall started her career in IT support at a public school district. She knew she wanted to pursue cybersecurity, but she needed a path that actually fit her life. So through our master's program, she could learn on her own schedule, and the monthly payment plan, which by the way is interest-free, meant that she could make that transition without taking on any student loans. That flexibility helped her move into a senior threat detection role in a completely new field, a huge leap forward. And Christina's story is exactly what we aim to do more of. And our strategic plan invests in marketing, partnerships, and support to make thousands more stories just like hers. Next, we're focused on elevating the reputation of SANS Technology Institute. Because when the world sees our college as a premier cybersecurity institution, your degree and your achievements carry even more weight. We hear all of the time how the SANS and GIAC name carry weight with employers. But what truly reinforces that reputation is how consistently you show up in the field, whether that's dominating in competitions like the National Cyber League or contributing original research published in external journals like Oren Niskin's recent publication in the ISA Journal. That's why our plan invests in competitions, thought leadership, research, and global initiatives like the Paler Scholarship. We want to amplify the work that you're already doing. And by doing so, we also want to make sure that the world sees it. Our third priority is probably what matters most to every one of you here: the support, the experience, the outcomes. Because success doesn't come from the coursework alone. It comes from the personalized advising support you receive, the career coaching, and the belonging. Let me share one more story that captures this well. Eunice Park spent 20 years in the fashion industry, and then she made a really bold decision. She wanted to switch careers into cybersecurity. So she joined our undergraduate certificate in applied cybersecurity and pushed herself through a really steep learning curve. With the hands-on labs and the GIAC certifications, the advising support and career support, she built an entirely new professional identity. And today, Eunice works as a cybersecurity specialist with the U.S. Space Command. Her journey shows that with that right support, students from any background can break into one of the most important fields of our time. And that's why our plan invests in new advising tools, integrated learning platforms, improved career support, and a stronger sense of community, so that more experienced students can experience breakthroughs just like Eunice's. And then finally, our fourth goal is industry impact. We are committed to meeting our country's cybersecurity workforce needs in a meaningful way, while also contributing talent to the broader global community. By 2030, our aim is to graduate thousands of professionals who are ready to make an impact wherever they serve. So every goal that we've set for this 5-year plan ties back to a real person, someone who's discovering cybersecurity, someone who is earning a certification, someone who's stepping into a new role or even a leadership role. Those stories belong to Christina, to Eunice, to Oren, and to all of you. So next slide, please. I'm going to talk about one of our very top priorities as we move into 2026, and that is expanding access into our undergraduate programs. Since we launched those programs in 2020, we've mainly served students who already have a good number of college credits before they're starting with us. And that model has worked well for many, but it's also created barriers for others who are ready right now to join us. So in 2026, we're removing several of those barriers. And let me walk you through those three major changes. The first one is that we're lowering the entry requirement for the Applied Cybersecurity Certificate from 48 credits to 24 credits. This will open the door earlier for motivated students who are ready to start their hands-on cybersecurity training. Second, we're expanding our acceptance of general education credits to include AP and CLEP and ACE evaluated learning. That recognizes the different educational pathways our students take, and it avoids making them repeat work that they've already mastered. And then third, We're introducing a more affordable, streamlined general education pathway through sophia.org. This makes it easier and more affordable for students to complete high quality gen ed courses without having to enroll in another school. So, taken together, all of these initiatives allow us to do something truly transformative in higher education. We can enable a student to earn a full SANS technology bachelor's degree for about the cost that you could pay at 1 year at a traditional college. And then they step into those six-figure cybersecurity careers, truly transformational. All right, next slide. So in 2026, we're not just expanding access, we are also strengthening the community behind us. Our students and alumni, you have always been our strongest advocates. You've brought friends and family and coworkers into cybersecurity by sharing your experiences. And our new referral program recognizes that impact. It makes it easier for you to help grow this community in an intentional way. When you refer prospective students, or when you help us connect with a hiring partner or an employer, you'll earn Sentinel points. And those points are redeemable for rewards, everything from SANS swag to skill quest registrations and even full courses. But more importantly, this program reinforces something foundational to our mission, that access grows through networks of trust. When someone hears about SANS Technology Institute from a colleague or a family friend or you, they're not just learning about an academic program, they're hearing what's possible with the right education, the support, and the community behind them. So take a moment, scan this code so you can get started with our Sentinels referral program as well. And with that, President SCOTUS, I'll turn it back over to you.
I appreciate it, Betsy. Thank you, Josh and Betsy, for your great presentations. We're now going to do some Q&A. We have a series of questions that people submitted when they registered for this event, and I do encourage everybody to stick with us throughout the Q&A period, because at the end we're going to announce there's some prizes available, and we'll tell you about how those are going to be selected and awarded to the people attending here. You'll be notified of your winning of a prize probably by tomorrow, within the next 24 hours or so. So stick with us for that. Let's go ahead and go into Q&A. If we could bring up our first question, please. This is from Thomas Gorman. Thomas, thank you for sending a question in to us. I'd like to address this question to Betsy. Are there any future plans to introduce new academic programs? I think there are, huh?
Yeah, well, Thomas, that's a great and timely question. We do regularly look for new academic program as part of our long-term planning. And I'm happy to let the cat out of the bag that yes, we are adding a new certificate program in digital forensics. So you won't see it on our website just yet, but all of you should be able to go and check it out on the website in the first quarter of the year.
That's great. And Robert, I think you're going to find that the point that you made is going to be addressed very soon. The point that you made in your Q&A here. So that's great, Betsy. And there is a committee that is very active. Josh participates on it. I do. Of course, Betsy absolutely does. That's constantly looking at our existing academic programs, that's making proposals and ideas for new academic programs. We just did a big review, which turned up the importance and the need for this digital forensics certificate program, and it's great stuff, and that is what we do to keep investing in and keeping our offerings vital and tied to what you as our students really need. To that end, let's move to the next question. All right, Robert, I told you we'd get to one for you. This one was asked by Alexandro Garcia. And I'd like to address this one to Josh. Josh is a course author for the 504 course and is an instructor. I'd like to get your perspective on it. Maybe I'll offer a couple of my thoughts on it. With the transition to AI, Josh, how does SANS.edu plan to integrate AI into the academics?
Sure. So I can say, as the author of 504, we have been embracing AI, and I've been adding a lot of new content on AI attacks, on using AI, on defending AI systems. And I think you will see that pattern across all of our other courses as well. I don't think there's anybody in the industry that does not recognize how AI is dramatically changing how we do our work and how we can be successful in defending against attackers. So we'll continue to see a lot of that being added into existing course material. A lot of people will ask also, what do we do about AI? How do we maintain our value to our employers? And I think that at the college we have established such a great program. And yes, AI is changing things, and I think that it is changing what expertise looks like now. But I think at the college program, certainly giving people the skills they need to work with AI, defend against AI, use AI for attacks even, I think those skills are important, but also the skills of how do we know when to use AI? How do we fit this into our organization? What is an appropriate use of AI? Those are all things that we're seeing in our classes as well, and we'll continue to add more and more of that throughout all of our course programs.
That's well said, Josh. I travel to SANS events throughout the year, and whenever I do, I try to sit down with our faculty from the college, especially the authors, but also the instructors, and ask them, so how are you integrating AI into your course? And we kind of brainstorm. They tell me what they're doing. I say, have you thought of this? Have you looked at that? I mean, it is something I feel absolutely passionate about and have been pushing for. Also, we've got some great AI courses, AI specific courses that we're integrating into the college programs. There is SEC 595, which we've had for many years now. That is, of course, authored by Dave Holzer, taught by Dave. Also, Chris Crowley teaches it, which is machine learning and AI, but not just how to use it. It's actually how to build systems and operationalize them for cybersecurity practices across the board. So that's our flagship AI course. We have additional courses like 495, which is a one-day course on AI and leveraging it in a leadership position. We've got a course called SEC 535, written by Foster Nethercott, who's an alum, as you saw his picture earlier in this presentation. That is on offensive uses of AI, and I've met with Foster 2 or 3 times in the last 2 or 3 months. I know Josh frequently talks with him as well about all the great stuff happening in that course. So there is a tremendous amount of activity at SANS on this topic, and you will see in 2026 much, much more of it. Of course, we have Rob T. Lee, who is the SANS Institute's Chief AI Officer and Chief of Research, and he's very, very much involved with this as well. So great question, Alexandro. Thank you so much, Josh. Thanks for your answer. Betsy, anything you want to add to that? Good stuff, huh?
Think you both covered it pretty well.
Wonderful. Let's move on to our next question then. This is great. And Betsy, I'd like to direct this one to you. It's from Chris Haller. Chris, it's wonderful to interact with you always, and I really appreciate all of your work in supporting the SANS Technology Institute students in their participation in NCL. You've done amazing things there. So, what is planned, Betsy, to
Mm.
increase student-to-student interaction further, such as building on the success of the National Cyber League?
That's a great question and an interesting one because it is tough in a remote environment, but we do know how important student connection is. So we are putting real efforts into that to create more ways for students to connect. For 2026, we have some planned interactive virtual sessions, small group discussions, informal hangouts, even career conversations. Some of you may have already attended some of these already. We're also going to be piloting some student hosted meetups at live events and also piloting a mentorship program that connects students with alumni. And of course, Chris, this one is in particular for you because you're very active in our CTF participation. We'll continue encouraging the CTF participation. And actually, it's now built into our undergraduate program. So that should help with the connection there in the undergraduate programs. So thank you for the question.
And that's great, Betsy. Wonderful answer. And I think it's important to point out too, you know, for our students here, some of them are very involved, like Chris, and others are newer, maybe not as involved. This is the kind of thing where you get out from it actually even more than you put into it. But you got to put something in to get anything out. So I encourage you to participate in all the things Betsy just described. These meetups, if you're able to physically get there, the career planning sessions. I know Josh Wright has led a couple of those, and some of our other faculty have. I have once a quarter mixers with current students where we invite you to come and you talk with me, but you talk with each other too. So that's student to student interaction. So please join us for those mixers. They sell out pretty fast. We do, for those of you who are alum here, we do once a quarter mixers with the alums. And this is all virtual. So you just kind of come and hang out for an hour. Also, Ashley White, who does a lot of our student coordination, said to me that the student mixers sell out so quickly. Can we do additional ones? So instead of doing 4 per year, in 2026, we're going to do 6 per year for students. We're going to continue to do 4 for alums. And we're also going to do an additional one for our international students. So truth be told, there's going to be 7 student ones. The international one's going to be at a time of day that is maybe better for folks perhaps in Europe or maybe even in the Asia Pacific region to attend. So Chris, your question is so well stated, and there are plenty of plans to expand this in 2026. It's a big initiative that we're on here. So thank you. Let's move on to the next question, shall we? How do you plan to balance scaling the program and maintaining academic rigor? Oh, that's the lifeblood of any college. Betsy, can I direct that one to you?
Well, sure. Our interesting, unique model makes that pretty easy. SANS develops the curriculum and GAC provides the assessment set, and they're both updated constantly by experts who are leading the field. So that means that academic rigor doesn't really depend on how many students we enroll. It stays consistent and world class at any scale. So on the college side, we're scaling. We're scaling our advising and our career coaching and our community support so that every student gets the guidance and support they need to succeed. But really, the advantage of our model is that we can increase access without ever compromising our quality.
Absolutely right. And Billy, this is such a good question. And one of the things I've been involved with the college, well, for 20 years now, I suppose. And one part of Alan Paller's vision was to do exactly what you're asking about here, to balance the scaling and to use our unique model to do that while keeping up that academic rigor. And also part of that, Betsy alluded to, was hiring the best of the best from traditional college and universities as our staff. So we've got incredible people that I don't want to call them all out by name because there's so many of them, but they're all so good, as advisors and counselors and people to help you as you work your way through the program. They're the best in the world, truly. In fact, Alan once said to me, "We're going to cream skim the best from traditional colleges and bring them over to SANS.edu to serve our students so well." And I'm proud of what you folks do on that. So good stuff. Josh, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Are you good?
I think yeah, you said it wonderfully. Thank you, Ed.
Well, all right, let's move on to the next one. Oh, this one, yes. So let's each of us answer this. Maybe we'll start with Josh, then we'll go to Betsy, and then I'll put mine down. Does that sound good? So this is from Rachel Downs, who says, "What has been the most surprising moment in the last 20 years of SANS.edu?"
Uh, there's so many moments. It's you look back and you think about all the things you've done and all the surprises, but I think maybe the most surprising thing is seeing the recurrence of trends of attacks and seeing how the things that we were talking about even 20 years ago are keep coming back up. Not exactly the same. Of course, attackers are always changing, defensive mechanisms, priorities for organization, funding, all of that changes. But a lot of these core learning objectives that I learned when I was early in my career and the things that I share with students, they keep coming back up again and again and again. And I guess it's one of those things, it seems cliche, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. I think that never ceases to surprise me.
Well said. That's absolutely true. I agree 100%. And learning those foundations, people still need to know them. And now even more so than ever with AI involved, because sometimes the AI will tell you stuff that's just not true, or it'll tell you stuff that's partially true, but you have to have the judgment to know what's true and what's not and what to do with the output. So Betsy, what has been your most surprising moment or moments in the last 20 years of SANS.edu?
Well, in my first 5 years of working with the college, we were solely a graduate school. So we serve very specific, experienced audience. And then in 2020, when we started the undergraduate programs, we started getting students from all walks of life, including career changers, excuse me, and just witnessing some of the transformations from for those career changers has been pretty incredible. We've seen students go from making dollar hourly wages to six-figure cybersecurity salaries. So it's been surprising and amazing at the same time.
Well said. Well said. If you'll allow me, I'd like to share two surprising moments for me. The first one happens once a quarter when we do these mixers, the alumni mixers. So these are people that have gone through one of our programs, whether it's a certificate program or a degree program, and we invite 10 or so of them every quarter, and they come and they just talk with us to tell us how they're doing. The thing that is surprising to me is how accomplished these people are and all of the stuff that they do, the critical infrastructures, the massive responsibilities they have, the things that they secure and how important they are to our very livelihood. I always start one of these alumni sessions by saying to everybody, there's 10, 12 people, whatever it is there, and I say, you know, you're about to be talking to with some of the most incredible individuals I've ever seen and probably that you've ever seen. And you might feel intimidated. Every last one of you might feel that. But all of you are at that same level. You're all doing such incredible things. Don't be intimidated. Put it out there. Tell us what you're up to. Tell us how the college has served you well. Tell us how we can serve our current students better. That's what we do with these alumni mixers. And every single one I do, I'm just surprised at how great our alums are doing. So that's one surprise that I see. I guess I shouldn't be surprised at it, but I still am. And I'm a constant wonder of the things that our alums achieve. The second thing goes back to one of those early graduation ceremonies. I alluded to them in my intro. Not the first one or the second one where there were one or two students, but this is when we were on a roll. This might have been the third or fourth or fifth commencement ceremony. I don't know, maybe there were 12 or 15 students that were walking the aisle. And I remember standing next to Stephen Northcutt at the time. Now, some of you may not know this, but Stephen Northcutt was the first president of SANS.edu. The second one was Alan Paller. And you might say, well, wait, Alan Paller was the founder. He was. He was the founder and appointed Stephen Northcutt the first president. And then the second president was Alan himself when Stephen had retired. And then I've had the honor of serving as the third president. Um, so back to this third or fourth or fifth graduation ceremony with 12 to 15 people walking the aisle. Stephen Northcutt turned to me and he said, this might be our legacy. Everything that we do, all this other stuff that we do, with the industry and the SANS Institute and such, he says, this college is probably the most important thing we'll ever do. And I remember looking at the 12 to 15 graduates, all of whom I loved and thought the world of, and thought, maybe. And here we are, 20 years to the date into this college. And darn it, if Stephen Northcutt wasn't right. I mean, I really think that's it. Again, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but it's due to all of the great work done by so many people, and especially our students. So my hat is literally off to you all on this great occasion. I mean, it's just fantastic. 20 years in. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide if we could. I think that's all of our Q&A that we have here. Some people have sent some. Oh, no, there's one more. Oh, one more. When you look forward 20 years, okay, so we got forward looking. How would you like SANS.edu to be remembered? I have some comments here, but I'd like to hear. Maybe we go Betsy first on this one, then Josh, and then I'll give my concluding thoughts. Sound good? So Betsy, you're planning the next 20 years out in your upcoming role as provost. How would you like it to be remembered?
I would like to carry forward Alan's legacy in making sure that we truly impact the cybersecurity workforce and the need in the cybersecurity workforce.
Well said. Amen. Josh?
Uh, Carrying on with Alan's stories here, Alan told me once that I won't be able to help everybody understand every single thing that I want to teach them. um, there's so much to understand, so much to know. But Ellen told me that if I could leave people motivated, if I could leave them excited, with a drive and desire to learn more, then I've given them a gift. And I always remember that, and I remind myself of that every time I teach. And I would love people to look back at their college program and think, I learned so much, and I know there's so much more to learn, but I feel empowered and energized and motivated to want to make a change. I hope that when people look back and people think about their time in the college, they think this was the place that gave me the foundation, the skill, the motivation, and the confidence to be able to achieve my goals.
Well said, Josh. That is fantastic. My perspective on this, and Aaron, it's great to hear from you again. I love it when you join us on our mixers. Um, how would you like SANS.edu to be remembered? For me, my perspective on that is through the students and their accomplishments. That's really what matters. It's all that you're able to achieve, making the world a safer, more secure place. And hey, if SANS.edu gets mentioned a bit in that as helping you achieve those goals, that's wonderful. But the point is, it's about you, our students, and our alums, and the goals that you achieve. I would like SANS.edu to be remembered as aiding in that, but it's the mantle that you have, and we want to equip you to be able to do that. Also, I notice you use the past tense, to be remembered. I hope this institution is vital and running great in 20 years. I hope to welcome you all as alumni 20 years from now. I'll still hopefully be around and be able to talk about that. And, we're all working super hard to keep the SANS College really charged up and embracing new technologies. With the attackers getting ever more lethal, we have to stay ahead of this as much as we can. And that's why we constantly introduce new courses. We push our authors. We push the whole organization here to keep up with the technology and all the changes that are happening faster and faster than ever before, embracing new technologies like AI. So I want to be remembered, this institution 20 years from now, through not only our students, but also by having a great institution that is as vital as ever 20 years from now. So thank you, Aaron, again for the great question. Thank you, Josh and Betsy, for your reflections. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Some closing remarks. I had promised you that we've got a little award that we're going to give to some people. We're going to select at random here. So as a special thank you for joining us today, we're holding a prize drawing after the event. The prize is going to be drawn shortly after the event, but we have to indicate it to you, which will happen in the next 24 hours or so. All attendees will be automatically entered to win either a diploma frame of your choosing from our partner, Churchill Frames, or a SANS Technology Institute swag bag from our school store. Our engagement team is going to announce the winners via email after this event is over. And everything that this college does is based on your great work as students. You're a vital part of everything that we do here. You are our mission. And that mission is through you to help make the world a safer, more secure place. We are counting on you. We appreciate you so much, our students, our alums. So on behalf of the SANS Technology Institute, our administration, our faculty, our instructors, our authors, heartfelt thank you. 20 years in. It is amazing to me. 20 years in. Can't wait for the 25th, 30th, and then, even reflecting on the 40th coming up. So as we look ahead to the next 20 years, our focus remains the same, empowering people just like you, to make the world a safer, more secure place. I'd also like to thank the wonderful team that put together this Founders Day celebration, this presentation. I know you worked super hard on it, and the slides came out great, and our hats off to you. It looks like we were able to answer all the questions that were typed in the channel as they came in. Thank you all for those great questions and your insights. I look forward to seeing you, myself, on upcoming mixers. Josh is going to be doing his career advice. Betsy's going to be, as provost, running the institution in just a couple short weeks. So thank you all, and I wish you a wonderful holiday season. And stay tuned for some great new things coming from SANS.edu in 2026. Thank you all.